Hey folks, welcome back. It is not the big barn build today. We're going to be working outside on a new project that I'm going to get ticking over during the summer months, and that is building a track. So stick around and I'll explain what on earth I'm up to. So as well as carrying on with the build and the oak framing and the brick and all the good stuff that's happening on that shortly, this is going to be our little behind the scenes kind of backup project, that anytime I've got downtime from up there or anytime I've got an offer of help, we'll just come down and do a few hours on this. It's also, a digger isn't that loud. It's not like you're kind of firing up a load of fencing and you can't do that in the evening, but when it's light, between 8 and 9 or something, come down here and do a few more meters, and you know, over a course of a couple of weeks I should be able to get all the prep work done and then hopefully get some good pricing on geotextile and things like that. Now, since we bought the farm 3 or so years ago, we have been having to drive over the fields, which is fine. It's probably been done like that for a long time. However, you're constantly damaging strips of grazing, and we need all the grazing we can get. But also some of our fields, i.e. the one right at the far end with the small lake in it, that one you have to get to via this field here. And what we found is you could only do that for about 2/3 of the year, and then it became impassable because you would get stuck, hence why there's ruts and all sorts out in that field. So we decided to start driving right up against the fence line, and that worked well because it meant that we have a designated place that we can drive back and forth. And I fenced, rather than fencing up against the hedge here, I fenced away, so we've got this 3-meter strip. Now that sounds all well and good, but it's still not winterproof, and the rutting got so deep that even in our truck with really good mud tires on and fairly decent clearance, it's still bogging down, and it's slipped into the fencing a couple of times, and it's just not going to work, and it's only going to get worse over time. And what happens is all this soil and mud just washes over, and that's no good either. So we decided that we wanted to put a more permanent track in here, which is going to enable us just to get up and down nice and safely and quickly, because when you're driving along here, when it's this rough, you have to take your time. And you know, I could probably do my checks in about a quarter of the time, because I could just zoom along there or send the kids along on a bike or whatever it is, count the sheep, check the water, and be back again. Anyway, that's the background. Long story short, we have finally managed to get approval, which is like a prior approval, permitted development type application, to put a hard standing in, to put in a hard core track. And we've obviously got a lot of the aggregate from what we've recycled out of the barn and other block work and stuff we've got crushed down, which is ideal. So we're going to end up hopefully with a nice compacted stone track with a bit of camber on it, and that is going to be my, you know, back burner project throughout the summer months. It is like digging rock, but it's okay, we'll make a start. I need someone on a dumper constantly whilst doing this, because otherwise I'm double moving, which is just one of my pet peeves. However, the plan of action is to leave a small grass verge on the right hand side here, which is about, it's going to end up at about 600 mil, so a couple of feet of grass. And I think that just looks nicer, but also it's going to hold back some of our aggregate and stop it getting onto the pasture. And then the track will go all the way up to the bank on the left. Now, interestingly, I've hit about, I don't know, 6 inches down, I've hit some hardcore, some brick, stone and stuff, which indicates what we thought might be the case, that this was already a bit of a track. And when this was a dairy where you move cows constantly, you try and have something a bit more structured there rather than churning it all up. So we've got that up in the top field, and we've noticed that a lot of the time the grass grows over it, and that's the case up in the paddock as well. There are areas that only 1 month a year you can see on a drone that the grass doesn't grow quite so well because it's just a small amount of topsoil on top. Anyway, that means that we're on solid stuff down there, and what the plan is to dig it down, get some geotextile in here, about 2.5 meters wide, and then just do that in one hit. So we'll get the geotextile in, and then we'll start doing some runs down with the dumper. Now, I did this 2 years ago, so there's a membrane under here and a load of type 1. Obviously things have grown through, but that's fine. We don't necessarily want it to look like a pristine driveway. And I actually, this is not the best example, but I don't mind it when you've got a nice bit of grass up the middle. So in time, I don't mind if it's, as long as it's just greenery. Yeah, I know, it'd probably be easier if I had a big JCB or a bulldozer or something like that, but I've got my speedy digger and I've got my old dumper, so where possible, I'll do it myself. Right, back for another couple of hours on the track, and I think I'm going to continue what I was doing before, which is just doing that bucket width all the way along and getting that line right. Literally nowhere in this digger to put a camera on. As if they didn't think about YouTubers. One of the plans was to hire a 5-ton digger for this part, but I think we're going to hold out, see what we can do with what we've got, and then when we're closer to having a few days in one hit to get all the new material down onto the track, then we'll hire the bigger machine. Otherwise we're going to have to hire it out twice, and that'll end up being, I don't know, probably £1,000 for a couple of weeks. Right, I'm going to be this side of the fence and hopefully reach over her. Although, because I made a start, I've piled everything to this side, which wasn't that clever. Just not sure, unless Joe drives up and reverses back each time. That might be the answer. We'll see. We'll do one load like this. So we're going to shut this gate, take this gate off the hinges, and the idea is to dump a load of it up here, and may as well use it to flatten off this little paddock here. Because it's just all a bit lumpy and bumpy, and then if we end up with more than we know what to do with, we'll just pile it somewhere, because hopefully at some point we can get some of our soil screened for topping up the lawn and things like that. Bit more, let's stop, then put it in neutral, keep your foot on the brake for now, and then you may as well leave the handbrake off. So the black lever, far left, push that forward. And then you might need to dump a bit, reverse a bit, and then in time, when you get more confident, you can dump and reverse. All right, this is a bit of a tipping point there, so we're going to put a load here, and then it won't be so steep. Yeah, that's all right. Now reverse a bit. You can leave it up, or
But we're back on the track and the dumper. Got a bit of child-free time, maybe 2 hours. See how many loads we can shift. Quite a dusty business. Oh, my tea. Tea's getting dust in it. So that's how much we've done. And this is how much we've got to do.
Should we go over together to tip
Yeah,
the first one?
yeah. I was going to say, I don't think we should work out how long it's going to take us per metre.
Why?
Because it might be quite depressing.
That's alright. Well,
it's alright.
scoop it up. Just like loading a bucket with a teaspoon. This digger, but
Yeah, but
we'll appreciate the bigger digger. Keep it going. Brake hard down. Cute. Where's the dog? Huh? Where is the dog?
Yeah.
Alright. Don't run over the dog. Third gear now, we're doing it just on the flat. But there's a little button on the side. You can just that way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect.
well, we are making more progress than I thought. I thought it was meant to rain at 3:30. Maybe that was just what Tim said to get me out here for longer. But we started at maybe 2:10, and we started, thankfully, I left a handy mug positioned on a post, as you can see here, to show where we started, because I wasn't quite sure how many posts up we were. So I've been able to count along to see how far we've got, and we've got, I think, 12 posts, which maybe they're 3 meters wide. Tim will probably say that's totally wrong, but anyway, so we're doing well. I think we've done 9 dumper loads. Tim still thinks we should get a bigger digger, hire it out, but I'm team save money. So I mean, to be honest, I don't think it takes, I think Tim would be sat waiting for me to go and take it all the way down if it was a bigger bucket, but I guess I'm waiting for him more, so I don't know. It's I don't know how much time extra time it would take.
So as you can see behind me, it's going okay. We're about maybe a quarter to a third of the way along, but I think it's time to just bite the bullet and get a bigger machine. So hopefully this week I'll look to get a 5-ton digger. I think that's probably the right size. I don't know if anyone has any recommendations size wise. I think there's certainly enough space there, but whether a 5-ton digger matches a 5-ton dumper, is there such a equation? I don't know. So either a 3 or a 5, and then that would just mean that one, I've got bigger reach so I can get over to the dumper easier, but there's gonna be far less movement needed, and I can just I can reach more and there'll be a bigger capacity on the bucket. So all being well, if I can block it out for kind of 4 days, which is what our local guy with some plant is offered, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I wonder, I mean, I'll have to do a lot of it solo, but I wonder if I could get certainly all of that cleared. The last third of it is actually, there's not much to grade off, and what does need to come off I can put just straight onto the field beside, because there's loads of lumps and bumps to smooth out, so there's less dumper work. But if I've got a 5-ton machine, this can be far quicker to have that up in the yard loading the dumper with the crushed concrete, and I can still keep the mini digger down there to do all what I need to do, which is just grading it out and moving it around. And then I'll probably just hold off and get the roller back, so when he comes to pick up the digger, I'll get the roller then, just in case I can't make use of it all in the same time period. I might be able to rope in a few ringers to help with it, but all being well, we'll just focus on getting it done. I don't want any more unfinished projects, you know, kicking around. So if we can sort out the track, then there's a slim chance I can get out the other side of that field while the ground is still hard in the next month or so and get that bridge built, because it would be great to have that ahead of the rainy season, the monsoon season, when this becomes somewhat harder to navigate. Now, if you're not familiar with the farm channel, DIY Farm is our other YouTube channel, a little bit younger, a little bit smaller. However, it's just as much action-packed stuff. Now, if you're not familiar with our other YouTube channel, it's called DIY Farm. It's somewhat younger and smaller, but it's where we put all the farm life side of things. And tonight it's a double header because we've got a video going out there. Now, we've got behind on editing on the farm channel as well. So it's a bit of a roundup video tonight. So if you want to see what we've been up to over the past few months away from the build, things like lambing, we've had a bull here for 2 or 3 months, which was, as you'll see in the video, quite eventful. There's a load of stuff going on with the poultry business that we run here. So if you want a bit of a glimpse into the other side, then head over. You can subscribe to the channel, you can watch the video, and then let us know what you think in the comment section, either here or there. But you'll hopefully understand, having seen that video and this video now, that track is really a bit of a lifeline through the winter, because one of our only winter grazing fields is that far one, and that means basically going up and down there once, if not twice a day, with hay, doing checks, and having a reliable surface along there is going to be really beneficial. So there we go, I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching, and remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.